Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Breakfast Special.
Yes, it's time for your breakfast special with me, Audrey Siek. It's a big day for GE2025. It's nomination day, and the stage is being set for what's expected to be a closely watched 9-day campaign leading up to polling day on May 3rd. Now, while we won't have the official confirmations till later on in the morning, we've seen some early signals of the lineups, though some parties like the Workers' Party have kept their cards close, raising speculation about possible contests and key constituencies to watch. And of course, this year's election comes with its fair share of talking points, including retiring ministers, a record-breaking number of new faces, and feedback from some opposition parties about the tight timeline. To help us make sense of what surprises we can expect today and what lies ahead in the campaign trail, we have with us Dr. Chong Ja Ian, Associate Professor from the Department of Political Science at National University of Singapore. Dr. Chong, thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Of course, my pleasure.
It's great to have you as always. So let's start by setting the scene here. You know, for listeners who may not be as familiar with the process of nomination day, what exactly happens today and what should we be keeping an eye out for as candidates file their nominations this morning?
I suppose the technical bits of the nomination filing will go on pretty smoothly, barring any surprises. People don't get their forms in right or don't fill them in properly. But most people will likely be watching for, which candidates go to, which constituencies to contest. That has not been completely clear yet, especially for the Workers' Party and the People's Action Party. So I guess people will be keeping an eye out for that.
Yeah. Another thing people are going to be keeping an eye out for is, some heavyweight names who will be retiring from politics. Some have already made the news announcing their retirement, like Maliki Osman, Ng Eng Hen, Amy Khor, with more expected to come. And of course, there's the record number of new faces making their debut. So how do you view the pros and cons of this? On one hand, yes, there's a sense of renewal, but maybe it's the familiar and more experienced names that resonate with voters. What are your thoughts on this?
I think people will sort of read this change in a sort of mixed way. There's a sense, of course, that having newer people across all the parties, not just the PAP, is important because organizations all have to refresh themselves. And some of the older stalwarts, they do seem tired. They do seem to need a break, and maybe fresh ideas are required. But at the same time, people are somewhat comforted by a sense of familiarity. So I guess there'll be, that tension playing out.
Yeah. And there's also more opposition star catches kind of emerging now. So who should we be keeping an eye on throughout this whole campaign?
I don't know whether, we like to talk about star catchers in Singapore. But, I think what we're seeing is more and more high-quality candidates run on different party platforms. I don't know whether they're star catchers, but they certainly demonstrate that Singaporeans are ready to step up to contest for different parties to sort of voice out the different ideals and ideas that they believe in.
Yeah. All right. So there are some closely watched constituencies we also want to hone in on today, like West Coast Jurong West GRC, where in the last election back in 2020, the Progress Singapore Party came closest to unseating a PAP team. Aljunied GRC, of course, traditionally been a key battleground with the Workers' Party holding it since 2011. There's also Sengkang GRC. What kind of attention might these constituencies draw on nomination day, and are we expecting any surprises in the lineups?
So I guess people have been talking about whether part of the Workers' Party Aljunied team might go to other constituencies, and who from the PAP side might be contesting in Aljunied and Sengkang. And I guess, the lineup for West Coast isn't completely firmed up yet. But ultimately, I think the real test for how much the PAP wants to contest these constituencies, with the exception of the former Jurong West, would be whether they are willing to really put their money where their mouth is. Perhaps moving a minister, like sitting minister level person, maybe someone in the 4G to contest. That would show real commitment. That would show a real desire to contest. Short of that, I suppose it will continue to be a competitive race. But, and the PAP has lots of resources, but incumbency has its advantages.
Okay, and now nomination day isn't just about confirming the candidates. It also marks day one of the official campaign. How do you expect the parties and candidates to hit the ground running today? What strategies might we see emerge in the first 24 hours?
So I think what we've seen, the election 10 years ago, the last election was COVID. We'll see both a ground game and what we might call an air game, meaning to say that there'll be lots of stuff going on social media that started already. I expect that to intensify. And also candidates will be out and about in their different constituencies, trying to meet with residents, trying to win their vote. Because ultimately, in the way that Singapore's political system works, the vote that candidates want to win come from particular constituencies. So it's those voters that matter most rather than, say, the national sort of voice behind one party or candidate or another.
And we're also seeing digital and physical campaigning come together this GE, and we're seeing the first rallies in 10 years. We have only 9 official campaigning days before cooling off day. How big is the rally component? Can physical gatherings actually help swing the vote?
So I think physical gatherings can help inform the vote. I'm not sure that they are decisive, but they certainly do show support. They certainly are a way to get ideas across. But secondarily, for ordinary people, mingle, to talk to others who might think like them, to get a sense from not just the candidates on stage, but people around them and their peers, what the thinking is. So the physical rallies are actually an important component of campaigning.
Okay. And how clean a fight do you expect this GE to be? Already we've seen distractions or personal attacks, which we've seen play out online.
Yeah, unfortunately, personal attacks are something that comes with elections. I wish that were not the case. I wish people would play the ball and not the man, but that's just how these things work. I think what we do need to watch out for, though, inauthentic campaigning practices. So bots, we've seen actually quite a lot of bots online already, inauthentic accounts, trying to sway, trying to mislead. I think those are probably more pressing than these attacks. Attacks are nasty, but they are par for the course.
We were talking about nomination day and the stage being set for what's expected to be a closely watched 9-day campaign leading up to polling day on May 3rd. And of course, this year's election comes with its fair share of talking points, including retiring ministers, a record-breaking number of new faces, and feedback from some opposition parties about the tight timeline. So we have lots more to look forward to this nomination day. Thank you so much for joining us on Breakfast Special. Dr. Chong Ja Ian, Associate Professor from the Department of Political Science at National University of Singapore on Money FM 89.3.
To listen to the full interview, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.